Have you ever noticed how the harder you try to explain yourself to someone, the more defensive they get?
Oh man, yeah. It's honestly one of the most painful yet incredibly predictable paradoxes of human connection. I mean, we speak because we have this deep fundamental need to be heard.
Exactly. Yeah, we just want them to get it.
Right, but the very mechanics of how we default to speaking, especially, when we are absolutely certain we are right, those mechanics are often the exact triggers that drive people away from us.
And looking through this massive stack of research you sent us, specifically those timeless frameworks from Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People, it becomes so clear why this happens.
Yeah, Carnegie really hit the nail on the head decades ago.
He really did.
Yeah.
So the mission for today's deep dive is to unpack this. Like, why does it seem like the harder we push with pure logic, the faster everyone around us builds a fortress?
Well, to fulfill that mission, we really have to recognize a rather humbling truth about ourselves. And it's that humans are just not logical creatures.
We really aren't, even though we love to pretend we are.
Exactly. We like to think we're these rational beings, but at our core, we are deeply, deeply emotional. We are governed by pride, by vanity, and by this absolute desperate craving to feel important and validated. And when we ignore that reality, our communication just completely fails.
I want to dig into that biological mechanism for a second, because reading through your notes, it hit me that our default communication style is almost always well-intentioned.
Oh, totally. We're usually just trying to help.
Right. Like, you see someone you love about to make a terrible mistake and you want to warn them, or you see a problem and you just want to fix it. But by jumping straight to the fix, we end up triggering an actual physiological, biological threat response.
Yeah, we have to look at how the brain actually processes incoming information when it's under stress. Because when you are talking to someone in a moment of tension, their brain is not, it's not consulting the rational, analytical prefrontal cortex first.
It's going straight to the survival center, right?
Exactly. It relies on the amygdala, which is the brain's ancient threat detection center. The amygdala's only job, literally its only job, is to answer one primal question: am I safe right now?
So using pure logic to solve an emotional reaction it's like trying to put out a house fire with a calculator.
Oh, I love that. Yes, exactly.
You're bringing the completely wrong tool to the emergency.
Yeah.
Like, the math might be flawless. You can punch in the numbers, run the equations, hold up the little screen to show them that 2 + 2 = 4, but, the house is still burning down.
And the calculator isn't doing a single thing to stop the flames.
Not a thing.
The tragedy of our good intentions is that we rarely swing that verbal hammer maliciously. We swing it because we honestly believe our logic will save the other person.
But the brain doesn't care about our good intentions.
No, it doesn't. When you bypass the security checkpoint of the brain, when you speak just to correct someone rather than to connect with them, the other person's brain senses an attack on their ego.
And to the amygdala, an attack on the ego is indistinguishable from, like, a physical predator in the bushes.
Precisely. The shields go up immediately. The nervous system floods the body with stress hormones, effectively shutting down the logical part of their brain. So your flawless logic is now just bouncing off a brick wall.
Which means when we speak merely to correct, we lose both the argument and the relationship.
Every single time.
This brings up a fantastic scenario from the research, which I think perfectly illustrates this. So imagine a close friend comes to you. They're venting about how much they hate their corporate desk job. They are exhausted, burning out, and they announce they want to quit next month to become a full-time travel vlogger.
Oh boy. Yeah, that's a classic one.
Right. And my absolute default reaction, because I love my friend and want to save them from financial ruin, is to just give unsolicited advice. I want to say, are you crazy? You don't have anywhere near enough savings for that.
Because your analytical brain instantly spots the iceberg. You see the lack of savings, the brutal social media algorithms, all of it.
Exactly. In my mind, I am offering a shield. I'm protecting them.
But to your friend, it does not feel like a shield at all. Mentally, they instantly label you as a dream killer. I mean, they aren't going to hear a single valid point you made about the algorithm because you failed to establish emotional safety first.
I just brought the calculator to the fire.
You brought the calculator to the fire. This is where Dale Carnegie's approach is just so vital. You have to address the feeling that birthed the idea before you ever touch the logistics.
So instead of attacking the business plan, how should we handle it?
You validate their exhaustion. You say something like, wow, you must feel incredibly suffocated at that desk job to want such a massive adventure.
Oh, wow. You must feel incredibly suffocated. Like, completely flips the script.
It does, right. You're validating their very human desire for freedom. You turn your words from a defensive wall into an open door.
But wait, let me push back on this a little, because this was my immediate fear when reading the notes.
Yeah, lay it on me.
By doing this, by just validating them, are we just enabling a terrible, totally unrealistic business plan? Like, I don't want to co-sign a financial disaster for my friend.
That is such a common hesitation. But the source material is very careful to make a crucial distinction here. Validating an emotion is never, ever the same thing as endorsing a strategy.
Okay, that makes sense. Validating the feeling, not the plan.
Exactly. By validating their feelings of suffocation, you are creating what we call a safe harbor. When they are in that safe harbor, they don't feel judged. And only when that emotional baseline is secured, like when the amygdala has powered down, can you actually discuss practical logistics.
So it's strictly a matter of sequencing. We have to earn the right to use the calculator by putting out the emotional fire first.
Exactly. Later on, you can gently ask, so how are you thinking about funding the first few months? And because they feel safe with you, they'll actually listen to your logistical concerns.
That is so powerful. But, this safe harbor concept isn't just for big life changes. I'd argue it's actually way harder to pull off during mundane, everyday frictions.
Oh, the daily grinds are where relationships really get tested. It's the slow death by 1,000 paper cuts.
Yes. So let's look at the second scenario you outlined, which hits incredibly close to home for anyone who shares a living space.
The infamous household chores disagreement.
Yes. It's the end of a long day. Your partner has just worked a brutal 10-hour shift. They walk in, clearly exhausted, and you realize they forgot to do that one household chore they promised to do.
Like picking up the dry cleaning or taking out the trash.
Right. And the default reaction, the one that just slips out, is, you always forget when I ask you to do simple tasks. Can you please just write it down?
And on the surface, your analytical brain justifies this, right? You think, well, they forgot, so they should write it down. Pure logic.
But underneath the vocabulary, what I'm actually delivering is a tiny, piercing accusation.
Exactly. Phrases like, you always forget, and simple tasks, those act as direct assaults on their competence. To their exhausted brain, this isn't a helpful suggestion about a notepad, it is a biological threat.
Which means they immediately snap back. They go, I was working a 10-hour day, do it yourself, and boom, the house is on fire.
Right, and diffusing this kind of mundane explosion requires more than just scripting different words. I mean, we can use the perfect I statements instead of you statements, but if our delivery is off, the brain still registers a threat.
And this is the part of your notes that absolutely fascinated me, the physical and vocal mechanics of speaking.
Yeah.
Like the actual way we use our voice.
Yes, the physical mechanics are just as vital as the vocabulary. If you deliver a kind phrase, but your vocal cords are tight, or your pitch is high and you're speaking a mile a minute, the nervous system still flags it as an attack.
Because the nervous system is listening to the music of your voice, not just the lyrics.
That is such a great way to put it. High pitch and fast pacing biologically signal distress. In the wild, those vocal markers mean a predator is nearby. When you speak quickly and sharply, the listener's body literally tightens up.
So, to genuinely diffuse a situation, you have to undergo a physical shift.
You literally have to lower your vocal register. You must pause. Take a deep breath. Drop your register into a deeper, calmer tone.
And you physically look through their eyes to recognize the sheer exhaustion they're carrying. And then you deliver the shifts. You say softly, I know how completely drained you must be after today. Let's just grab dinner and we can worry about the chores tomorrow.
The power of the pause in that sequence is it's incredible. By pausing, you are giving the emotional wave a second to crash without letting it pull you under. You give their amygdala a split second to process that no attack is coming.
It's like the silence between the words is actively signaling to their nervous system, I am not a threat. You are safe here.
And in doing so, you preserve their dignity. Preserving dignity is the absolute cornerstone of effective communication. When a person feels their dignity is intact, they have no reason to raise their shield.
You instantly turn a potential screaming match over dry cleaning into an actual moment of connection.
Yeah.
You prioritize their well-being over the chore. And honestly, even though I was right that they forgot, it doesn't matter.
Because being right is the booby prize of communication.
The booby prize, I love that.
Seriously, think about it. If you are right, but you are sleeping on the couch, what did your flawless logic actually win you?
Absolutely nothing. True communication isn't about winning a debate.
Now, I want to take this a step further. We've talked about friends and partners, but what about complete strangers, like, say, an angry customer or just someone hostile you encounter in public?
Oh, that is scenario number 3, the angry stranger. That is so tough because you have no established trust with them.
Right. And your instinct is to match their energy or defend yourself. If a customer is yelling at you about a delayed order, your instinct is to say, look, I didn't ship the package, it's not my fault.
Which just makes them infinitely more angry.
Exactly, because you're basically telling them their anger is invalid. But Carnegie's principle works here too, maybe even better. You have to completely disarm their hostility by agreeing with their right to be upset.
So instead of defending the shipping department, what do you say?
You lower your tone, you pause, and you say, you know what? I would be incredibly frustrated too if I were in your shoes. You have every right to be mad about this delay.
Wow, just entirely validating their reality.
Yes, and it is wild to watch this happen in real time. It physically deflates their anger. They came ready for a fight, their amygdala is totally fired up, and you just refuse to pick up the rope.
Because they just wanted to be heard. They wanted to feel important enough that their inconvenience mattered to you.
Exactly. Once they feel heard, the hostility drops, and then, only then, you can logically solve the shipping problem.
That is just brilliant. Okay,
Yeah.
so we have one more scenario to cover. This one is tricky. Scenario 4, offering constructive feedback to a colleague at work.
Yes. The workplace, where egos are fragile and everything feels like a threat to your livelihood.
Right, because you have to correct something they did wrong, but you don't want to sound patronizing,
Yeah.
and you really need to preserve their professional dignity.
It's a tightrope walk. If you just call them into your office and say, your presentation yesterday was a mess, you need to fix the data, their brain goes straight into survival mode.
They hear, I am going to get fired, I am incompetent.
Exactly. So again, we drop the verbal hammer. Instead of criticizing, you share the burden. You use a softer tone and maybe frame it around a mutual goal or even a self-deprecating anecdote.
Oh, I see. Like, I used to struggle with formatting these reports all the time when I first started.
Yes. That is perfect. You say, I know these reports are ridiculously complicated. I used to mess up the data sections all the time. Let's look at this one together to make sure we're aligned for the client.
That is so entirely different. You are preserving their ego, normalizing the mistake, and establishing emotional safety.
And because they don't feel attacked, they will actually absorb the constructive feedback. They'll probably even work harder to fix it because you treated them with respect.
It all comes back to that same core idea. If we want to draw people closer to us, whether it's an ambitious friend, an exhausted partner, an angry customer, or a struggling colleague, we have to stop criticizing their map of the world.
That is such a profound way to look at it. Everyone is walking around with their own internal map of the world, drawn by their own unique experiences, their current level of exhaustion, their fears,
Yeah, and when you use your verbal hammer, you are essentially grabbing a red pen, reaching over to their map, and furiously crossing out lines, telling them they drew their reality wrong.
And absolutely nobody wants their map scribbled on.
Nobody. To build a real connection, you have to put down your red pen, you have to step onto their path, look at the landscape through their eyes, and try walking in their shoes for just a single mile.
You have to validate what they are seeing and feeling first. Recognizing that speaking can either be a weapon or an act of profound generosity, that changes everything.
It really does. The greatest gift we can give someone isn't our flawless logic or our brilliant advice. It's simply the feeling of being completely safely understood.
That feeling is the ultimate safe harbor.
It really is. Which brings us to a final thought for you to mull over as you go about the rest of your day, armed with this stack of insights.
I love a good challenge.
We know that speaking merely to correct someone always loses both the argument and the relationship. So what would happen if, for just the next 24 hours, you tried a radical experiment?
Okay, I'm listening.
What if you treated every single conversation with your spouse, your kids, your coworkers, or even a stranger, not as a chance to be understood, but strictly as a covert mission to understand someone else's map of the world?
A covert mission to just understand. I love that.
Try putting down the calculator for a day and just see what happens to the fires.